Now our project's all modelled, we're going to create a technical drawing. So there's two types of technical drawings we're going to work on. This one's a parts view, and it's been exploded out to show us what components we need to create in Woodwork. We need to create an animation, and the animation endpoint is the most important. So you can see how all these components are separated. That's what we need to work on first. So this is my current model. I'm going to go to my home view, and I'm also going to go and select in design. Sorry, before we go there, we'll go to the camera and make sure you're in orthographic. Then we're going to go to animation, and from animation you need to click the timeline back to the curtains. That's the first thing we do. If there's any other kind of objects in here, delete them and then drag that back. Zoom out a little way so we've kind of got some space to work with. About there's good. Now I'm going to move to the 2-second mark, and we're going to select all the top. So using control, we can select all the top pieces, and we can use the move tool to bring them up. Then we're going to select each one and move them apart a little way. Try and do it evenly what you can. Now we're trying to do this in groups, so we're going to select the two legs and the rail, and we're going to bring that out this way, and then we're going to do the same to the other side but move it out this direction. Then we're going to move back the two legs back, hopefully the same distance as that. You can see we've got some interference here, so we might need to move the top up a little bit. Now I'm not going to show you the whole process of doing this. You just need to try and just carefully bring everything apart, and once everything's apart, we'll move on to the next part of the process. So that's what I've ended up with this project. If I press the play button, it does expand outwards. It looks pretty cool, but that's not the process that we really need for this one. Just notice these two here could probably come out a little bit more. And we want this to stay separate in our technical drawing if possible. So the next process is to go to the new drawing from animation. Now I like to keep it at A3 because this is going to be a pretty big drawing. So you can see the angle of the drawing has changed a little bit. Everything, well, nothing is overlapping except for the top. So we're going to go back in and change that. Let's go back to the technical drawing, sorry, the animation. Highlight those ones, move, and bring this up a couple. Save that and come back to your drawing and update it. You can see it's moved up a little bit. We can double click the view and go to shader. That will bring the wood grain to this project. And now we're going to do a table. So the table will automatically default as a parts list. You can see the leaders have populated, and we've got a description column that's not being used. So we're going to double click the table and come down to the description and deselect it. And the last thing to do with this drawing is to try and organise your leaders a little bit so they don't cross over the model. So that one's okay. This one here might move down to the bottom. Takes a bit to learn how to do this. Try and get the dots to be lined up. Use the guidelines there. This is messy here, so hopefully get this one to come up through here, and then try not to get anything to cross over. Sometimes it's easier to kind of do that, so you can see it coming through. This one can be moved over, and It's not perfect yet, but you can see we've got a line of numbers that's easy to read and they don't cross over the model. I did notice also this 9 references the drawer as complete components, same with the 11. That's the top. You can go into this table and change it to all levels. That will give you the breakdown of the drawers and all the components of the drawers too, but you're going to have a lot more dot points to organize here. It's pretty cool when you can kind of go, what's 9.5, you go up to 9.5 and draw bottom, got everything labeled nicely. It does reference everything that you had on, or the names that you've used through your model, so that's where it's really important to name your files correctly to start with. So that's the first technical drawing. See if you can get that presented neatly. The second technical drawing is achieved by going back to your design and go back to the design mode. Then go File, New Drawing from Design. You can do it as an A4 or an A3 at this point. So this will want to place a front viewing to start with. So this is an orthogonal projection drawing. We're going to do it as a complete assembly, so that's our front view. We use the project tool to project the top view up and project a side view, and then a 3D view up on the side. Then we can go about pressing D and adding dimensions to this. So because I'm working on an A3, my size of my font is quite small. Obviously when you print that will change. Try and get your measurements nice and straight off the work. So this one here, you can see it's on an angle. I'll press escape and try again by selecting the top flat surface and the bottom flat surface. And it projects off nice and straight. So that's my overall height. That's my leg height. We might be able to put the rail height in this drawing here too. We could put the taper height in. It's probably not the best spot to put it. We could put the taper height over on this side. We could put the overall width on here, but if we put the overall width on this one, we don't need the overall width on this one. You'll see that it's exactly the same because it's the same table. So choose which one seems best. Don't duplicate your information where possible. So keep adding measurements until you are happy with the that communicates what you need to produce in the woodwork room. You can double click this one and create it as a shaded model, but we generally leave these ones as line work.